We are now at Nazareth. It's November 2020. Coronavirus, COVID-19 is still with us. And you can see the Church of the Annunciation. That was supposed to be the main entrance to the church. From here, all the way up. But somewhere near the year 2000, the Muslims discovered here a tomb. According to what they believe, it's connected to the family of Muhammad, and they didn't let us build the entrance, and they wanted to build here a mosque that was supposed to be higher than the church itself, the moat. But everyone went to court, and the result was that they won't be build a mosque here, but the main entrance won't be built here too. Then this is the mosque's plaza. On Friday you can use it as a mosque. For so many years you could see here a sign. Now it's actually gone because there are no tourists that say that the only way to be a good person is to be a Muslim. This is the facade of the church. The church is new. It's totally not old, but the site is on the first century house of Mary, and we can actually see a little bit of it. But there were so many churches. Sadly, most of the churches been destroyed by the Muslims. Then what you see here is a church that was built in 1960 that's been destroyed by the Christians themselves. Why? Because they wanted to build a big church. Until then, only few people arrived to Nazareth. On the facade you can see the full for gospel, and the most important thing is the angel and Mary, and there's a sentence that connected to the to that place, to actually to the book of John chapter 1, but they added a word that you can actually use it only here. Say hello to Ronit. Ronit, say hi.
Hi.
And where's my daughter? Say hi. She's not happy today, are you? I cannot see her smiling. Then in that case, before we will enter to the church, Ronit, do you want to listen to what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All right. Then what I want you to do is to look at Mary. So many Christians countries send their vision of Mary, and it's beautiful to see that the Jewish mother and of course the Jewish son Jesus are different in every country. Look at that, Iraq and Andorra and Bolivia. But I want to show you Mary from eastern, southeastern place. Maybe think in China, Ireland. If you're looking for UK, you won't find it because UK is not a Catholic country, and this is the Catholic Church. Egypt, Armenia, the Catholic Armenian. Most of the Armenians are not Catholic. India, Romania. But the most important one for me, just because Mary looks beautiful there and different, is China. Look at Mary. Inside the church, it will be difficult to talk. Ronit? Yeah. Then can we talk about the church here?
We can talk about the church. Is dat bevindt in Zayks?
Dan, do you want to look at the mosaic first?
Yes.
Okay. Because we cannot talk inside the church, then there's so many pictures about the church itself. In the church, I will try to speak quietly. Then here it is. That's the grotto, the first floor. That's the first floor. The second floor is the daily church, but because of Corona and COVID-19, that part is closed for us. I believe that it will be open tomorrow only for the service, for the Mass. Then, there's so many things to see here. The first thing to see is that. This is a mikveh. We are talking about a Jewish village, a Jewish family from the first century. The Jews must purify their body a woman needs to do that every month, a week after she's getting a period. A man supposed to do that at least before Shabbat will enter. Then it's kind of a pool, and they will enter to the pool. They will purify the body, not the soul, and they will go out pure. That will, according to what the Catholic believes, is wall of the synagogue from the first century of Jews who believed in Jesus. That part is from the 5th century church, facing, of course, to the east. What is important to see is the house of Mary. At the house of Mary, you can see the inner part of it, and we will be somewhere outside it. The fence will be closed, as I believe. And here in the altar, there will be a very important sentence from the book of John. And the Word became a flesh. The Word became a flesh, and they will add one word that you won't be able to read it in the Bible here. And the Word will become flesh. Here, it's a huge difference, and that's a story of Israel. You're not actually walking through stories. You're actually being part of that story because everything happened here. Mosaic floor, right here. I don't know if you can see, but there are some crosses. Those crosses will tell us another story. Until the 5th century, you could create some crosses just for fun. From the 5th century, couldn't do that anymore. Then in that case, that mosaic is not more than the 5th century. And the house of Mary is from that area too, which we believe that area is, of course, from the 1st century. The wall that you see here is another layer of the church, but this time from the 12th century. The Crusader adored Mary. Then they built a church here too. The church been destroyed so many times because it wasn't on the highway and it was controlled by the enemies of the Christians. Another thing that you will see, and I know that it's a little bit difficult for the non-Catholic, is the letter M, and it will be all over the church. Mary, 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 and inside the church as well. It's from time to time difficult to understand why the Catholic, you're here, why the Catholic did it. But that's what they believe in. And for the non-Catholic, accept that this is the house of Mary, because everyone believes that it's the house of Mary. And when you will visit that place, don't say, no, I'm not going into the biggest church ever that's dedicated to Mary, because it's the house of Jesus too. He was here for, let's say, 30 years at least. Then in that case, don't miss the church. Now, we will enter to the church, but before we will enter to the church, I want you to look at the door. They have a beautiful, beautiful door. And no one is there, then ליאור תני לבוא. Inside the church we must be quiet. I will talk to the camera, but I want them, but you actually saw everything. That you know what you see. On it? Look at that door. That door is like 3D Bible tour, and this is actually the Holy Land. Let's start with that. It's close to Christmas, then you can see Bethlehem, and then they flee to Egypt. Most of his life he lived in Nazareth as a carpenter. He was baptized by John at the Jordan River. The Sermon on the Mount and the Sea of Galilee is here, and of course the crucifixion is above it, but it's not the end of the story because you can see the resurrection as well. Then let's go in. And we must be quiet now. Oh, this is something that you couldn't see before. And in coronavirus time, you can actually see it. Remember the M. This is the grotto of the church, and let me show you what we can see here on it. The mikveh. That's where they purify their body and the crosses. The house of Mary, and the Crusader wall from the Crusader time. The 5th century church, facing of course to the east, and the daily church is above, but you can see that most of the light comes from there, from the eye of God. And on it, look at those triangles above you. It's not really triangles, it's the two triangles is the letter M. Mary, 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 Mary. Beautiful, isn't it? Then, if it's okay by you, let's go to the house of Mary. And then I will take some pictures of you. You can see the house right there, and we're going to be as close as I can. So many other chapels. We shall find it. Let me show you how it's look like. Remember the eye of God. The light came from there. You can see what is beautiful to see here is that it's a Greek Orthodox icon in the Catholic Church, and I like that. I love that. And here you can see the house itself, and the Word became a flesh is here. Amazing, isn't it? Look at the eye of God. On it. But we're not calling the 5th century mosaic, and that's going to be the end of that movie right now. It's November 2020, Nazareth, Israel.